Hello, this is Joyce McKee from Let's Talk Trade Shows. One of my very favorite topics is return on investment. And today in this webinar, we're going to be looking at the ROI Tool Kit in action. I want to share with you a wonderful story. We can actually look at this as a case study. But Mara Weber, she's the manager of trade shows and events for Honeywell Process Solutions. So that's a division of Honeywell, as well as she's the director of the Global Honeywell Users Group. Between her knowledge and using the right tools, the results that she achieved over the last few years is really outstanding. So let's peel back the covers and look what she's done. Mara was highlighted as one of Exhibitor's All-Stars. In last year's February 2009 magazine, Brian Todd had an article entitled Honeywell's Smart Restart. Now, if you want to go get the article today, you'll have to go to Exhibitor Online and pay a $5 fee to get the reprint of this particular article. In 2000, Mara was part of the marketing team, and as one of her job duties, she was one of the booth staffers at the various shows. Now, as she observed during that period of time, she saw no consistent messaging from Honeywell Process Solutions Group. She also saw that they had these big booths regardless of past performance at the show. There was a real lack of booth training. She knew that firsthand. And then she also saw that there was no desire for promoting the show. Now, Mara's conclusion, and I think this is a great quote, she felt that she was looking at a potential economic engine for the company that, unfortunately, had been left idle. Now, Mara had several other observations. One, that there was really no apparent trade show strategy. Second, this is something she saw firsthand, chatty booth personnel who showed up late and ignored the attendees. I'm sure you've never seen that. And then the granddaddy of all reasons for going to a trade show, because we've always been there. The good news for Honeywell is that Mara takes over the trade show program in 2004. Now, at that time, the booth contracts for 2005 were already in place, so she couldn't do that much adjustment at that moment. But what she did start with was booth staff training, which had been non-existent before. Then the second thing that she did was she wanted to know about the audiences for all the upcoming shows. And at that time, she turned to Dursey Exhibits for help, and they were able to provide her with some great assistance. And let me show you. The ROI Tool Kit was created by Skip Cox and his team at Exhibit Surveys. Now, they were funded and worked with IAEE, and actually there was a grant from the PCMA Foundation for the funding to get the toolkit up there. It is free. You need to establish an account. It's your email address and a password. The one thing I love about it, not only can it be used for the actual ROI of a show, but it has a fabulous what-if model for pre-show. We'll talk more about that here in a few minutes. But the ROI Toolkit can establish a baseline for you, and as Dursey Exhibits had done for Mara, we'll see some of those results. In the pre-show event module of the ROI Toolkit, there are several things that Dursey used. One, taking a look at the total audience, the professional attendance, the target audience. Now, that is the number of people you think out of the entire audience would be interested in your products or service. Then they also calculated the number of hours the show was going to be open. Now, sorry that this is a little fuzzy, but this is actually from the ROI Toolkit website. So this is the pre-event planning module, and it gives you an estimator for potential audience for you, the number of exhibit staff you might need, and also the exhibit space. One of the powerful features of the ROI Toolkit is this what-if modeling. So it allows you to adjust your figures based upon your assumptions. Let's say if you're a 10 by 10 and you're thinking about maybe being a 10 by 20, it will allow you to put in some of those variables and see exactly what the ROI might be if you were a larger size booth. Or if you know that you're going to be doing other things pre-show planning wise, you may get more of that target audience into your booth, and therefore that also can be adjusted in the numbers. One of the biggest changes was that she reduced the number of shows. They had been going to 35 in the past, and they decreased that to 24 in 2006. The second thing that she did was reshape some of the shows, meaning the one was OTC, which is the Offshore Technology Conference. And rather than being there by herself, she started partnering with other divisions within Honeywell. Third thing that she did was resize some of the shows. So she took a 50 by 50 booth and reduced the size down to 10 by 20. Well, now continuing with her efficiencies, she and Dursey came up with interchangeable booth components for all the shows. Second, she had general booth signage rather than specific, unique signs for each of the shows. So she did away with that customization both of signage as well as collateral. And then she implemented a lead measurement system. And on that one, I really applaud her. Now comes the reporting for each of the shows. First part is the lead count and the qualification. She is using a mechanism that she actually tracks the sales back to that individual show, and then she produces reports on each of the show's ROI. A wonderful quote from the article. In the old days, our executives didn't spend a lot of time looking at the program, and I'm sure you've seen many corporations that are doing that, maybe you. But she goes on to say, today they do. Now they are asking questions about things like ROI or attendees that they would not have known to ask about in the past. What an accomplishment, what a grassroots accomplishment for her to use data and information, show management, and then now have them asking these kinds of questions. Well, all of that was about the pre-show planning and of course the ROI, but let's spend a little bit more time taking a look at the post-event measurement module in the ROI Tool Kit. It shows you the reach that you can have, what your staff performance was, as well as the potential ROI estimator. Using the post-show ROI toolkit, you need to put in certain variables like the net attendance, target audience, the product or service interest, total show hours, etc., to help calculate what the ROI is. Now, if you're unsure on any of the numbers, the ROI toolkit has definitions for each one of those. So like on net attendance, if you don't know what it is and you weren't sure how to calculate it, Skip and his team have created definitions like the net attendance is the total attendance to the show minus the exhibitor personnel, press, students, staff, etc. Now in total, there are about 14 different data elements that you need to put into the ROI toolkit to create the numbers for your show. So here are some more of the numbers. The total number of inquiries that were obtained at the show, on this one it was 200, but the qualified leads obtained were only 100. The exhibit staff on duty, the total direct expense. Now these are real numbers from one of Skip's clients. So as you can see, the total staff travel and entertainment expense, the average conversion of the leads, which is around 13% for this particular client, the average order, and then your company's gross margin. All these need to be placed into the toolkit, and wait till you see the numbers on the next slide. As a senior manager, these are numbers that would delight your little heart. To have a potential revenue to expense ratio of 12 to 1, wow, and then a potential ROI of 368%. Now these are numbers that any manager would love to see. Now if your numbers are not that good, it establishes a baseline so you can judge performance year over year or show over show. Well, I'm curious, what are your numbers? If you're do-it-yourselfer, go to the ROI Toolkit site and start calculating. For all those others who need some help, I do have a service that I can help you calculate ROI on any given show. So take a look at the Let's Talk Trade Shows website /ROI, and if you need me, on the website is my phone number. Feel free to call me. Would love to hear your success.